Hey guys, what's up? I am Clay Cook, and today we're going to go over how I sharpen images. It's my technique that I've been using for about a year now, and it's worked really well for me. Now, granted, there's tons of ways to sharpen an image. You can do the high pass method, or you can do unsharp mask, or just sharpen. But at the end of the day, I've found that this method works best for me because it really brings back some texture, and I'm able to customize it with the opacity. So I could really have complete control over it. I found this technique just perusing YouTube, about a year ago, and I've kind of implemented it into my work, and it's worked out really well for me. So we're going to dive right in here. This is an image I shot, a creative image actually. I shot of Gunnar Deathridge. You might recognize him from Project Runway seasons 9 and 10, and I was testing out a new backdrop and a new modifier, and I love what it did, and I ended up doing an entire series about it. And he's a good friend of mine, and I shot a bunch of my friends, and it worked out really well. I got really great response. Anyway, as you can see here, I've already kind of retouched the image. I've already colored it and graded it, and once you're at this step, I always save sharpening for the last thing I do, so the last step in the post process. So once you're at this point, what you need to do is make a copy of all these layers and smash them down into one layer. So in order to do that, you need to do Shift, Control, Alt, and E, or for in the case of Apple, it would be Shift, Control, Option E. So again, that's Shift, Control, Alt, and E, and that will take all your layers and smash them down into one. And then we need to copy that layer. So we have two copies here. I'm just going to quickly name this Sharpen, and then Sharpen Vivid. Okay, so we have two layers here, Sharpen and Sharpen Vivid. We're going to put those into a group folder here. So you just highlight both of them and drag them into the group. I'm going to rename this group to be Sharpen. Can't spell. There we go. Sharpen. And then what we need to do is mess some blending modes here. So you take the folder and you set that to overlay. It's going to look real crazy dark. And then you come down here to Sharpen Vivid and change that to Vivid Light. So once you have set the folder to overlay and Sharpen Vivid to Vivid Light, you want to invert this layer by doing Control I. So once you invert the layer, you hit Control I, and it will go back to its normal look. Now the technique that I use here is that I actually sharpen this with blur, with surface blur. So next you want to go on the Sharpen Vivid layer, you want to go to Filter, Blur, and then Surface Blur. As you can see on the preview, it looks really inverted, but on the actual image you can tell that it's been sharpened already because I have this preview clicked. But I like to keep the radius really low and the threshold low because I'm all about subtleties. If I was to raise this real high, you'll see here, give it a second, that this is just going to like over sharpen the entire image really bad, to the point where it looks like somebody took the clarity slider in Lightroom and raised it all the way up. There you go. You can see it looks terrible. So we need to back this off, and let's go back to a really small threshold of around 8, and the radius I keep around 10. So once you have that, give this a second, because as we all know, surface blur tends to hog your computer. There we go. So once we have that done, you can really see on the face here the difference. So that's without the sharpening and with the sharpening. You can really see how it brought in some crazy detail in the background, and then his face and his beard here. Again, without the sharpening and with the sharpening. Now, obviously, I think this is a little too much. So the coolest thing about this is that I can actually back this down with the opacity slider and really get a comfortable area where I want this sharpened to lay here. So usually I keep it between 50 and 60%. Again, that's pretty subtle, so That's without and then with. And you can really see the difference here. So again, this is my method. There's tons and tons of different techniques to sharpen an image. But this is basically my image is sharpening with blur and bringing back those details, then backing off the opacity. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up with an email, info@claycookphotography.com, or check out some of my other YouTube videos if you're ever curious on how I retouch or how I color grade as well. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.